That reminded me of incidents. At our times, whenever we students used to go for the picnic, we never had handsets, of course. There were no digital cameras also available at that time. The camera used to have a film. You probably do not know that because you might be very small kids at that time. So we used to purchase a camera roll. We used to fit it in that camera, and then we are supposed to take that film out and attach it on the other end, and then just wind it so that film will go ahead, and then close the back lid, and then click on photographs. So it used to click 36 photographs at a time. And then amongst the group of my friends, I was very expert to fit that film so that the 36 roll wala that roll will give us 39 clicks, so that I start right at the first photograph. Otherwise 36 was the standard, so we could get sometimes 38, 39 clicks in one film. That was the length restriction. So a group of our friends, we had gone to one excursion and we started clicking. I fitted the roll. We started clicking, it went on 39, then we clicked one more, it got clicked, 40 bhi ho gaya. So we were very happy. So again 41st was also clicked, 42nd, we went up to 45. शायद गलती से कुछ अलग रोल इन्होंने दिया होगा. So we went into 58. ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है, डबल कैसे कोई भी कंपनी देगा. So when we gave it for developing, we used to give that roll for developing, then they used to wash it and then we used the print. The entire roll was blank. Because when I fitted it, somehow it slipped and it went back here. So no photograph got clicked. So वो मुझे याद आ गया इसके ऊपर से. शूटिंग शुरू किया लेकिन वो शूटिंग का बटन ही नहीं दबाया. Thank God that we did remember it at the end of the session. Okay. So I was telling you different dimensions of work ethics. In simple terms, these are the different types of work ethics. First is meta ethics. The very meaning of meta is something which is beyond. So meta ethics is something which is beyond ethics. In simple terms, it is trying to understand more deep-rootedly what are the meanings of all these ethics. For example, what is the meaning of goodness? What is the meaning of rightness? What is the meaning of morality? So how do you define morality? How do you define that the person is very good? In the morning I had given an example. The food was very good, the lecture was very good, the person is also very good. How can all the three things could be good when those are not comparable? So we have to go to the deep root. What do I mean by the person is good? मतलब क्या वो दिखने में अच्छा है, चलने में अच्छा है, बोलने में अच्छा है, बिहेवियर में अच्छा है, या whether he is good for doing a friendship, whether he is good husband material. So how do you call a person good? Good का मतलब क्या है? So when we try to define this goodness in terms of ethics, we are going more into deeper understanding of that particular concept, and that's what we categorize that kind of study in ethics called as meta ethics. That is going beyond the concept of ethics, or to make it simple, to go to the deep root of that particular word, why it has come, what is the real meaning of it. I'll give you another example to make you understand this. We always hear this word pesticide. सुने आपने pesticide? क्या होता है? What does it do? It kills pests like cockroaches and lizards. That is pesticide. Germicide. Germ kill. Right? Then there's other similar word. Insecticide. It kills all the insects. Then there is dermatocide, which will kill all the. So CIDE is there in all the spellings, common. There is one word which we very often hear around, suicide. SUICIDE. The meaning of SUI is self. The meaning of CIDE is killing. So wherever you will see the word CIDE, that particular place, that chemical is killing something. And suicide is killing self. So that is how we. Now anywhere you will hear the word which has got CIDE as a suffix, you will understand this is killing something. That is called as the root of any particular word. There is a very standard book in the world's most sold book, Word Power Made Easy. All management students should possess that. Word Power Made Easy. By again, nowadays I am becoming old. I forgot the name of the author. So you just get that book. Every student should have that. So once you know this reason of side word being put in, you will know at least 15 words which has got side in it. So what we are trying to do, we are going to go to the deep root of the word and we are trying to understand the meaning. The same thing happens here. I have shown you the list of 27 values. So if I say, for example, hedonism, what is the meaning of hedonism? I have to go to the deeper root. Hedonism word, ek to ism is some science, some kind of studies done, and hedonism means banging on. Head is the upper. From that word has come. Actually, the spelling is not H-E-A-D. But then hedonism is some ism, some kind of culture where people are banging on something, means you enjoy your life. While enjoying your life, do you have certain rules and regulations? Right? When you go to, let's say, on seashore for enjoying your life, do you ask your students or ask your friends to make a queue? Chalo sab log ek queue mein khade raho, sab log ek queue mein hi no rules regulation there. So how do you? That means he is really understanding what is meta-ethics. So you are supposed to go to the root of the word, how this word must have been formulated. And that study comes under that branch or maybe that dimension of ethics called as meta-ethics, where we try to study the deep-rooted meaning of that particular word. So you can do this for all 27 ethics, values which I have shown you. You can pick up each word, go to Google and just type meaning of hedonism, meaning of conformity, meaning of freedom. So Google will give you some 15-20 synonyms. Then you can search root of hedonism. Then it will give you from where the hedonism word must have come, what must have been the philosophy behind designing that word. So there are many such words which we use in our day-to-day common English, which has come from some basic word. So there are many commonalities even between English language and Marathi language, Hindi language and Marathi language. And those have been, yesterday I told you, those have come from Sanskrit. So where from the word has come, what is the real meaning of it, going to the deep root of that meaning is called as meta-ethics. Trying to understand the deeper meaning of that ethical norms. Descriptive ethics, you read only the part which is bold. It compares the ethics of the past and present. You will always hear your school teacher, maybe you may remember of your school teachers, college teachers, even in PGDM also you will be having some teachers who will tell me, हमारे ज़माने में वैसा था, आपके ज़माने में लोग ऐसे क्यों बिहेव कर रहे हैं? So what I'm trying to do is I am trying to compare ethics, what we used to follow as a child, and we expect you to follow the same thing. And that is what we in general terminologies call it as a generation gap. And it is bound to be there. Generation gap, earlier it was somewhere around 10 to 15 years. Now it has reduced down and compressed to 2 to 3 years. There is a lot of tremendous difference in the behavior of a child born today and child born in 2025. The generation gap has come down to that extent. I was explaining you about your generation that is belonging to people born in 1995 to 2010. During those 15 years. The earlier generation was 1980 to 1995. Those are called the millennial generation. My generation is called the Generation X generation. So we were born between 65 to 80. Every generation, as I mentioned earlier, has got their own positive points and negative points. When I am trying to tell you, we used to do like this, we used to respect our parents, we used to do this kind of, we never used to behave like this. You are so careless. I am telling you because my times we used to follow these ethics may not be applicable to the next generation. The ethics which are being designed by one particular organization may not be applicable to the other organization that we call as an ethos. So every organization will design the culture based on whatever value systems they want to imbibe in all the members of that organization. I have just now, before this slide, I have given you, taken directly, jump to that slide where I made you understand what are the values, and virtues is what are the values which you inculcate individually on you or amongst you, within you. So with reference to that, whenever you are comparing ethics of past and present, you might also tell to your parents, tell to your children, when they will grow up and they will become 21, 30 years of age, they will say, हम ऐसे नहीं किया हमारे कॉलेज में, रोज लेक्चर regularly attend करते थे. This is something to do with standard ethics of honesty, means rules and regulations followed, which the institution has made you to do compulsorily, you are following it. But your kids may not be doing it. who knows that after 21 years the schools and colleges won't exist, everything is going to be online. So you cannot compare what has happened in your era with what is going to happen in the future and what has happened in the past. But we still keep on comparing. You will always keep on hearing, हमारे ज़माने में ऐसा था, हमारे ज़माने में ऐसा नहीं था. So what you are doing in simple words, you are trying to compare the ethics in the past to present. And ethics of one society and another. हमारे रिलीजन में ऐसा नहीं है, हमारे कास्ट में ऐसा नहीं, हमारे में ऐसी तरह से सेलिब्रेशन नहीं करते हैं, आपका सेलिब्रेशन का तरीका कुछ अलग है. It is bound to be there. Whenever human beings are scattered according to their philosophies, according to their religions, we have got certain countries who are belonging to a particular religion, who are promoting those kind of religions. Then there are certain regions where we have got all the people of same isms or probably same caste and same religion are staying. This has been purposefully done so that I want all the people to be staying together of my fraternity or ethical culture or the behavioral culture where I am belonging to. And then we will keep on boasting how we are great as compared to you always. Every religion, every caste, every society will try to boast how we are great than you. And the other party will also do the same thing. Party in the sense the other side, other society will also try to, नहीं आपका ऐसा नहीं, हमारा आपसे अच्छा है. When we are comparing any of these things which are related to the behavior, we call it as descriptive behavior. When we are comparing one behavior style to another behavior, or behavior style of past and present maybe into future. Perspective or normative ethics, where we are talking about concern is a criteria what is morally right and wrong. So normative is norm means rules and regulations. Perspective means visual, looking at the things from my viewpoint. But according to my viewpoint, I will formulate the norms. I will formulate the rules and the regulations. The word perspective, we have learned somewhere in school days. We used to prepare drawings, if you can remember. There was a separate subject, arts and craft or maybe drawing. So we might have drawn the picture of a railway train going in our picture. So when you draw the railway track, we might have drawn like this. Railway track meeting at one end. That is called as perspective. Perspective is how I see. Do the railway tracks really meet with each other? No. I am seeing from my position is my perspective. Perspective is how I am looking at it or how the things are seen by me. So when I am as an organization, I have my own perspective with reference to one example I had given you yesterday of Narayan Murthy. I decide to satisfy, get respect from all. That is my perspective of looking at it. I will decide that my only perspective of my company is to give whatever customer wants. That may be a different kind of perspective. I will try to see and keep all my employees happy. That is my perspective. So every organization will have a different core perspective. Based on that, they will design some norms, some rules, regulations. That is what is normative ethics. So ways of life, it should be like that, or ways of work, what is the, and of course that is what the base of ethics, that what is right, what is wrong. There is a concept of Nishkam Karma Yoga. We have discussed yesterday, Karmanyavadikar se whatever. Nishkam Karma Yoga means you keep on doing your work and don't expect the fruits. Nishkam means no expectation, no output, no gain out of it, and still you will keep on doing that work. And then it is said that the Karma Yoga will actually happen, means you will get the satisfaction. So all the complicated things are always easy. So do the work without any expectation. Fruits will definitely come to you. You will definitely get the gain out of it. But then you will have to keep on doing your work very meticulously, very dedicated. Then only you will achieve a satisfaction. That's very simple to understand. You do some work. For example, suppose you are walking on a road and some blind couple is there. That couple is trying to cross the road, and you are just walking. You see other people also walking. The blind couple is trying to struggle. Horn baja to piche gaye. So that white cane people, all born blind, they cannot see anything. And there are hundreds of people walking on the footpath. There are hundreds of vehicles going on, but nobody is helping them. You go, hold their hand, let them cross. Ask the traffic to wait. Cross them the road, and then you leave them. Imagine the feeling which you will have in your mind at that time. There are 100 other people, maybe 1,000 other people, nobody has thought of it. Where did you have any expectation out of this act? Did you ask money उन लोगों को चलो आपको रास्ता क्रॉस करके दे थोड़ा पैसे दे दो? No. It's only the satisfaction what you do, what you get when you do certain particular work. And this satisfaction is applicable to all the types of the works which you are doing. If you are doing the work dedicatedly, it is said that you go into such area means you try to find out such job which you love doing it, rather than finding out the satisfaction in the job which is given to you. Listen to this very carefully, I repeat. Try to find out a job which you will love doing, rather than finding the satisfaction in the job which is given to you. It is more difficult. So if you are interested in, say, literature, so you go and find out some job. Even as an MBA, you go to the publication company, you write articles there, you be the advertisement head, you be the editor of that particular magazine. You are still using your management knowledge. If you are interested in sports, go to sports manufacturing company, because your love is towards that particular organization, towards that particular type of organization. So you try to seek the job in which you are interested. You will automatically produce results. That is going to be Nishkam Karma. You don't have to strive much, you don't have to take a lot of trouble to do that work. You will not get frustrated working there. But other side, if you do, कौन सा भी job है अभी चाहिए इसलिए जो मिलता है ले ले. You are into marketing field and you are not at all interested in insurance, but the insurance company comes and he is giving you, the company is giving you 1 lakh का package right at the start. You take that job. Job तो चाहिए 1 लाख रुपए दे रहे, but then you are not at all interested in insurance. You will not be the good salesman. Proven. Because insurance, yesterday only I discussed here, insurance is one of the very difficult product to sell. Because you are supposed to tell to the person what benefits you and your family will get when you die. So you will not be doing it honestly, you will not be doing it full-heartedly, so you will never get a satisfaction. You will always remain frustrated. Sales people are most of the time frustrated. The reason is not that they are doing sales, because they knew when they have opted for specialization in marketing, they are supposed to do sales. Before that, I must make a clear distinction between sales and marketing. Sales is you are going to the people, meeting and selling the product. Marketing is designing how to sell, designing distribution strategies, designing advertisements, designing plans, designing the system of appointing the dealers and distributors. That is marketing. Marketing happens sitting in an air-conditioned cabin. Sales doesn't. Sales you need to pitch in. Sales are more difficult even in real estate. In Mumbai, if you are taking as a marketing and you are taken up a job with a real estate company, you are told to sell a flat which is costing 3 crore rupees. Don't you think it is difficult to sell some object, some commodity of 3 crore rupees? Very difficult. And on the top of it, if you are not interested in doing it, every day you will walk out of the cabin with frustration. आज कुछ भी सेल नहीं हुआ, and your salary is 30,000 rupees, and you will be told that you will get 1% of every flat you sell as an incentive. Every day, evening you get frustrated, you are not getting anything because you are not coming out with any of the results. So you are getting 30,000 rupees salary, for 2 months he will give you, third month, because you are not selling. What is the use of you as a salesperson? As a salesperson you should sell. And only the selling people will be bringing the job or the business to the company. With reference to that, if you are working in some such industry where you are interested in, you are not required to push. Again, coming back to yesterday's point, there has to be inner motivation. I'll tell you an example of one person, one of my friends, who was not an MBA graduate, who was only a 12th standard science pass. He joined some GITS company, which you know as a food company. He was proven to be one of the best sellers. He never had any kind of management degree. He was very good at communication, convincing people, very emphatic. So he was one of the best managers, and he got a best manager award in 6 months in that company. So he shifted to another company who was selling credit cards, some bank. I forgot the name of the bank. He was again the top record holder of selling credit cards. This is again a very difficult product to sell. Nowadays, these sales calls of credit people are happening on phone. You will get a call, you will lift it, a recorded message you will listen. Congratulations, we have heard you have very recently received an Axis Bank credit card. Why have I asked for it? So that is the way they will pitch the thing. So this was the case when there was no telecalling available. So this person used to go and meet people to people organization, then he could say sell the credit cards. The target, you won't believe, the target given to the salesperson of the credit card was 30 cards per month. Means उसको बाहर जाता है तो एक कार्ड दिन में बेच के आना है, मतलब किसी को दे के आना. This person, you won't believe, used to sell 50 cards in a day. What strategy he himself has followed on his own way. This is a real example of my friend whom I know very well. What he used to do, instead of going to individual, he used to come to JS Kotari College. He used to catch out of director. See, he said, he used to tell them, sir, as a bank I have got an excellent scheme which is exclusively for teachers. There was no such thing available. But then he used to tell that like. So he used to get a permission, can I talk to your teachers? So all the 15-20 teachers put together. He simply have to fill this form. This entire credit card is free. If you bounce, then only the charges are there. So don't bounce. So take these cards, 18 cards, you have to give it this. You will go to another college next to this, Kirti college probably. You will call all the professors together, sell another 12 cards there. Next college, 20 cards. In 4 to 5 hours, he used to sell 50 cards in a day, and he had got a record of 50 into 30 cards sold every month for next 6 months. Why this is possible? It's only because he was enjoying the work what he was doing. He was into such a work where he was interested in. So never do the mistake of selecting a job in which you are not interested. Take my own example. I have got all professional degrees. BE Civil, professional engineer I am. MBA is of course a professional degree. I am a PhD holder. But then I am not into any kind of business. I am teaching how to do the business because teaching has been my passion. Yesterday I told you that being a director also I have been taking 10 to 12 classes. Because I like teaching, I enjoy teaching. So karma automatically ho jata. So do the things in which you have interest. Why should I all the way come here from Pune in such a rainy season? Because I like teaching. The subject which I am teaching is very interesting, sir. You will come to know as and when. I hope yesterday it was interesting. Next sessions are also going to be more interesting. And that is the need of the hour. People are forgetting ethics. Corporates are being very much unethical. We will be coming to those points in chapter number 3 and 4. How the corporates are deceiving customers, how the corporates are deceiving their suppliers, which we don't want to have. And the origin is here in our country, India. So we need to understand and make the people also understand that you take up the job in which you are interested, so you will do it very easily, you will not get frustrated, and you will get the fruits out of it. What are the fruits that boy get? Again, he got best seller award after 6 months by that bank also. He is only 12th standard science pass, nothing else. No management degree. So the only which interests you matters. Then virtue ethics, these are certain history of ethics which has come from Plato, and Aristotle happens to be his disciple. And then there is Thomas Aquinas who has come up with further study. He said there are four cardinal virtues: prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. All the difficult words made easy in the bracket. You have to be careful, you have to be impartial, you have to have self-control, and you have to have courage. Most of us don't have. Don't try to show also in front of your boss. There is a very funny poster. Rule number 1, boss is always right. Rule number 2, even if he is wrong, refer to rule number 1. The reason is you don't have courage to tell your boss, आपका इधर गलत हो गया. He will say, ठीक है, मेरा गलत हो गया ना, तू कल मत से आ, तू कल से मत आ. Why? Because you have shown a courage and you know that courage is going to make you pay to a greater extent. ठीक है, गलती हो गया ना तो बॉस को बोलो, but in a very decent way. That will also indicate courage. You should not hurt him, but then you should also make him understand his mistakes. Right? You can do that. I'll tell you one incident. I don't know whether I should tell this or not, but then fine. Though this is recording, it doesn't matter because that's a fact. In universities in Pune, in all the universities, we have to follow certain rules called as UGC rules, University Grant Commission rules. And UGC asks us to follow the norms which are related to, say, some posts to be reserved for particular categories, some 50% out of 50%, some 2 posts are to be reserved for women, 2 posts are for say X category, for Y category, something like that. And we have to very strictly follow. In one of my earlier organizations where I was working as a director, one person has written a complaint to university that I should have been selected in this organization, apart from the norms that they should select the person for the reserved seats which are there for the particular caste or religion I belong to. So he filed, in a way indirectly, he filed a case against my institution. I being a director, it was a case against me. And then the case went to university. He has written a letter of 4 pages why he should have been selected. University sent the letter to me, that me in the sense director of that institution, and told me, asked me the written explanation why that candidate was not selected. Usually we don't select individually a candidate. There is a panel of members who say, so there were some 7-8 panel members who didn't accept that person to be selected. When I received that letter, I cannot go back to the panel and ask them the reasons. It is the director of the institution who is supposed to give the reason for that. I am giving you the example of courage. Now university, who has given me the authority and a power to become director, is like my boss. But then I had courage to write the letter to university. I first of all took the Xerox of that letter which is written, because attachment was a Xerox with that person has written to university. University has sent it as a proof that this person has put up this complaint. You will have to justify why this candidate not got selected. What I did, I took a Xerox of that letter, I took a red pen and I come out with 30 to 40 mistakes in one page into 4. So 160 to 200 mistakes were there in that page, and then I wrote to university, if university authorities direct me to suggest this candidate of this quality, I am ready to take it. No communication further, case closed. Because I had the courage to do that. Very difficult. Very difficult to have the courage to speak against your authorities, against your top boss, against your immediate boss. It is more difficult. Because he is the one who is going to give you the performance appraisal credit. So to be very careful from him, but you cannot keep on adjusting with him all the time when he is a habitual mistake maker. So you should have to have courage, but then used in a very decent way, and you should have to have the courage of telling him his mistakes. That is going to be ethical, because ultimately, why are you telling him the mistake? Why should you bother when he is making mistakes? Because ultimately you are thinking about the organization. Because if the boss is making mistakes, the organization is going to be at fault in the minds of the people where the advertisement. You might have been seeing some advertisement. I have come across some very foolish mistakes on the advertisement. Just now when I came here in the class, what I did, I came out with a mistake in this. So that has become my viewpoint. I have got those goggles. I see the negative things first in that page, all the mistakes in that page, and then I see the positive things. So that way, I have developed that system. So you have to be this can be possible only when you are very much perfect. Otherwise, when there is a saying in Marathi, when you are pointing out your one finger to others, 4 fingers are towards you. So you have to be very sure that you are very much perfect, then only you can point out to others. Ultimately, what I am trying to tell you is that you have to have certain perspective from your viewpoint, and you should have the courage to tell the other people to rectify. And when it comes to corporate life, you have to be very careful, which is very difficult to follow. Then there are some deontological and teleological ethics. This I will be covering in last slide because this will be repeated there. So let's keep these 2 points here. Then comes applied ethics. As the name suggests, ethics made applicable to certain professions. Now there are different professions. We know that there is doctors, there are chartered accountants, lawyers, architects, engineers, management professionals, company secretaries, pharmaceutical graduates. These all are said to be professionals. So all the professions do have certain ethics to be followed. We do have medical ethics, medical science ethics. We do have legal ethics. We do have architectural ethics. So particular profession trying to connect with all that value system, the list of 27 values which I am giving, and try to connect with all those values with reference to their profession. So let us read this. Decision ethics, ethical decision making process. Professional ethics just now I mentioned. Clinical ethics all related to medical. Business ethics all related to our profession. Organization ethics, every individual organization will say, and social ethics, when you are in the society, what ethics you follow. When you're coming, say from your place to here, you are there in the society, you are traveling in a train, you are traveling in a bus, you are traveling in a rickshaw, you are there interacting with some or the other members of the society. So there are certain rules, regulations taught to us. Maybe there may not be rule and regulation, but then some good behavior patterns are taught to us in our childhood days or in school days. When you are in the public places, how you should behave. Probably that is a very correct place where you will be able to find out how people follow social ethics. You are not allowed to humiliate somebody on the street. You cannot do that because the person whom you are humiliating, you don't know him. So basically it is taught to us in the school days, you should not humiliate anyone. So why should I humiliate somebody whom I have got nothing to do with? You will find many people spitting on the road. This is against ethics, social ethics. Social ethic norm says that you should not spit on the road. There are many big hoardings put out even in Mumbai. Do you spit in your home? Then why do you spit on street? Very simple message. Do we spit in our home? Have you seen anybody spitting in the classroom? Why on the street? That is a simple correlation for making the people to understand the meaning of when you are in the society, you shouldn't do this. You can go to, typically in gents' toilet, you will see many such kind of displays are there. Don't spit in the urinals. Most of the times we find, typically in public toilets, we don't find those being followed. You go to airport, you will find all those rules being followed even without such kind of rules. Why? Because people who are supposed to be very highly educated and very well learned, very well following the ethics, are supposed to follow the social ethics. What education is supposed to give it to you? You are supposed to be more educated. When we say you are educated, you are not only able to read what is written, but then there is a development which is happening here. Thought process changes if you are more educated. You can see the people who are uneducated around, how do they behave? We don't expect, we always say we don't expect from them. The people who are cab drivers, the people who are your best buses driver, you can see them the way they drive. In Pune we have got that typical city bus, PMT, rickshaw wala. So we categorize these people into particular category. Rickshaw wala है ना, उसके साथ मत पंगे मत ले लो उसके साथ, उसके मुंह मत लगो. Why? Because we know that he is not going to follow the social ethics. He might slap you, he might beat you, anything can happen because he is not following social ethics. So all the ethics when you are trying to follow, those will become applied ethics. You have to apply ethics in all segments. One more example I can give from here, clinical ethics. Now in India, identifying the gender or the sex of the baby likely to take birth is illegal. Earlier it was unethical, but then people still used to do it because ethics nobody wants to follow. So the government has made a rule, if any doctor identifies the sex of a likely born baby, his doctor's registration will be removed. He will not be allowed to do the practice as a doctor. Why that rule is made? Because people were not following the clinical ethics. Clinical ethics are all related to medical practitioners. You might have seen that movie Munna Bhai MBBS. When Munna Bhai asked to some doctor, ये form कोई मर रहा है तो ये form भरना जरूरी है क्या? Right? That may be procedural ethics. Some of the private hospitals will be very particular in following that. Because if something happens to that patient, yeah.
Doctors own life or also they can.
Yes, that's what. So if the doctors think that it is very much important to check that patient and cure him immediately, take him on an operation bed, all those signatures will keep on happening. But then that has put many doctors in trouble. This typically is very difficult for the doctors who are owning private hospitals. The entire hospital and the doctor will be filed against a case. So they say नहीं फिर आप वो पहले भरो. Later on, if I follow my ethics that I should save the patient first, and then later on you are going to put a complaint against us, so let me follow the procedure and laws. But otherwise, ethically, doctor should be first looking after the patient. वो signature वगैरह होते रहेंगे. That's why I have given you that example. ये signature करना जरूरी है क्या? Ethically no, by rule yes. So if you go to BMC hospital here, you will find that all the procedure has to be completed first. Because all medico-legal cases go to BMC, Bombay Municipal Corporation Hospital. If you go to private hospital, probably the doctor will tell, okay, इनको पहले operation theatre लेके जाओ, आपको form sign करो, we'll take care of it. But now, looking at the experiences of all these doctors, the private doctors are also trying to follow rules and regulations than ethics. But still, ethics are there. In all professions, there are ethics. So those are all athletics. Few Examples will come later, but then doctors, teachers, administrators, rulers, everybody who is into particular profession are expected to follow certain rules and regulations. Okay, now how do you do that? Now this is one thing where you can think about starting with your own business and designing work ethos for your business. So these are the steps. First is create a code. That means you will create ethical practices, SOPs. Instead of consulting what is prohibited, think about the kind of behaviors you want to promote within your organization. I have already given you examples such as you are supposed to wear some kind of uniform, you are supposed to wear formal wear, on Saturdays you can wear casual. So every organization will decide such ways of behavior when you are into the campus. Ways of social behavior, ways of personal behavior, behavior with your colleagues, greeting them, then following time commitment, being confidential, data security, all those norms you will have to design. So when you are designing at the start of the company, we call it as creating a code. I have given you an example recently of software project management. What they do, before they design a software, they design the codes. Those software designers may be able to understand. So designing a code means designing some kind of frames of references. People will always refer to it and will try to follow those. That is creating a code. Then once you create a code, second step is engage your employees and customers. So you should make the employees know that these are the things which we have designed and then we want all of you to follow. It is not that it is only for one particular department. When we are designing the codes are designed for the entire organization irrespective of the departments. So every employee must be following all those rules of ethics, behavior, norms, teamwork, whatever, 27, I cannot remember all those words. So everybody should be following all those norms, which I have decided that out of 27, okay, I don't require this, I don't require this, I don't require this. So I keep only 10 norms which every employee should follow. So I will take employees into the confidence and I will explain them what is the meaning of each of the values and what do I expect, how do I expect you to follow this particular value, getting converted into virtue. Virtue is you have to take that up in you and inculcate and develop that particular value within yourself. So I will define, I will tell to my employees, I will tell to my probable customers also that this is the philosophy in the form of vision, mission, objective statements, outcome. I will display at all the possible places. I will display at the reception. So the customer coming in will say, wow, great thinking of this company. So I'll definitely be like to use the product of this company or service of this company. Because it is known to the customers, it is known to the employees, he will be greeted very properly. The moment he sits, then he will be offered some tea or a coffee. There are some such kind of companies are there. There was one bank, that bank is still there, but in this branch now they have stopped. So what they used to do, they have opened a special branch only for the senior citizens. Again, they have created a code that this branch is only for the senior citizens. And they very clearly mentioned the entrance so that no common customer like you and me will enter it. So especially for senior citizen, what that branch was doing, the senior citizen walks in, he will just see a plus sofa set, somebody will welcome him, he will take that senior citizen, maybe old man or old woman, to some plus sofa set and he will ask that old man or woman to sit there. आप यहाँ पे बैठिए, grandfather, grandmother, what are you supposed to do? आपको क्या पैसा निकालना है, पैसा भरना है? So वो बोलता है कि I want to withdraw someone. So he will, that executive will fill in the withdrawal form for him, put the amount, put the account number, etc. He will take the signature of that old man, showing him that this amount which I have entered, please check, is this the amount you want to withdraw? He will say yes. He will put the signature on the side, back side. That executive will go to the cash counter. In the meantime, some another person will come, entertain those old women or men. What do you want, sir? क्या कॉफी लेंगे, चाय लेंगे या कोल्ड ड्रिंक चाहिए? अगर कॉफी तो शुगर, विदाउट शुगर, ब्लैक कॉफी कौन सा चाहिए? Whatever possibilities he wants to have, she wants to have, that will be offered to them. They say नहीं कुछ नहीं चाहिए, तो फिर ठीक है. He or she will try to convince more. नहीं लीजिए आप थोड़ा भी कुछ. अब अगर आपको आप बाहर से आए, वो बाहर बहुत धूप है, you can have cold drink. Then he will say नहीं वो cold drink पीता नहीं, वो diabetes है. हमारे पास without sugar चाय नहीं है, so we like to have that. In the meantime, that other executive will go to the cash counter, will get the cash and will put it in a proper bag and will hand it over to him. What is this? This is nothing but engaging the customers also in the process, that we have created a code specifically for the senior citizens and we have been following it. So you should also know that. So this was spread to all the senior citizen accounts, and then all senior citizen account, instead of going to any other, all other branches were also giving the same service. Same service means service to senior citizens. But then it is going to be just like other customers. I have to stand in a queue, wait in front of that cash counter. When my number comes, I will take a token and probably wait and go and collect my cash. That's a normal thing which is happening in all the banks. But specifically, they have thought of designing this code and they have been following. It was made known to the employees and customers. So customers also came to know कि ऐसा कुछ ब्रांच है जहाँ पे आपको कुछ नहीं करना पड़ता है. जाना है आपको, अगर आपके पास वो विड्रॉल स्लिप नहीं भी है, बिकॉज विड्रॉल स्लिप इज देयर ऑलवेज विद द बैंक, चेक यू मे बी हैव. अगर कोई चेक लेके आता है तो ही विल कैरी द चेक. सो ट्रेनिंग इज गिवन टू द एम्प्लॉइज and it is known to the customers also that this is the thing which is happening in a particular branch. So that is how we engage employees and customers. They reinforce the benefits of the code. You will have to, first of all, it starts here. Why are we designing the codes? That we have to see that this is going to benefit a particular class of people. So we have to keep continuing doing it. Unfortunately, as I said, that branch closed down. But then they should have reinforced it. Reinforced word has come from civil engineering. You might see construction going around. You will see that there are rods or round bars with some kind of texture on it, and those are pulled like this, and the concrete is poured into it. So those bars are called as reinforcement. Those bars will hold the concrete, and concrete will hold the bars. Reinforcement is making something very much stout and tough, keeping it very much tight and holding. So reinforcement is continuing doing it and holding it tight. So continuing all the practice of what you are doing. That's what is expected in stage number 3. Then we have good role model. Looking at this particular branch of the bank, there was another private bank who have started the same thing, similar kind of services to attract the customer, because you have become a good role model by now. So whenever yesterday I mentioned about try to be the best in whichever field you go, there I am talking about being a role model. So be a role model to all the people, all the students who are taking management education. Try to be the best manager. Try to inculcate certain good habits, display them. That is how you can do it. So be a good role model and let the people know that you are somebody, you are someone that you are doing something different than one another manager is not doing. That may be internal advertisement or maybe external advertisement. You can also do. Train your employees accordingly. You have to take the step ahead in enforcement. If you are a role model, you can definitely train the people under your control. Promote your ethical behavior. Just now as I mentioned, you can put it on website, you can put it on marketing material, social media, PR, etc. A lot of PR you can do. So you can advertise yourself. LinkedIn is a professional platform. So where you conduct, suppose some manager comes to your institution for giving a speech in induction, he will put it on LinkedIn. Photographs he will put it. Why? He want to tell to the entire LinkedIn fraternity that I was in some institution delivering an induction speech and I can do that. I am a role model. So it has to be promoted. All such kind of ethical behavior you have to promote. So if you go to any company's website, they have got a tab called as CSR. Yesterday also I made a mention of it. CSR is corporate social responsibility, which is talking about helping the society and doing some kind of social activities. How people will come to know that you are doing some social activities? This thing, website is the first word there. So there is a separate tab in all the companies who are falling under Companies Act and they are doing CSR activities. There is a separate tab called as CSR. You click on that, you will be getting all the photographs, probably video shootings of all the activities done for the social cause. So whatever you do, it is said that you have to promote, you have to market. In Marathi, there is a saying, I will translate it in English. It says that the person who speaks, he can sell anything. The person who doesn't speak cannot sell even gold. Of course, gold doesn't require any kind of marketing. But a quality product also you won't be able to sell if it doesn't speak. So marketing is required. So for marketing, nowadays it is always has become more important as a digital marketing. Like gone are the days when you can have a big hoarding, that may be one of the parts. But then we are focusing more on website, marketing materials, social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, or such kind of platforms. Instagram is coming up with, yesterday only I read, Instagram is coming up with monitoring facilities also. So slowly and slowly, just like YouTube, you can make money out of Instagram also. So you can promote such kind of things there on social media, and then you can let the people know that this is what we are following. Then this is done in most of the organizations. You reward the ethical behavior. This is done in most of the organizations, that you have a system where a person is not on time every month, he will get an attendance reward or an early bird reward, employee of the month award. You can go to these outlets, pizza outlet or Burger King, what is the other burger? McDonald's. You will see that employees of the month, those photographs are those persons are there pasted on the wall or maybe on a display board, and that person is moving around. And you look at it, he's the same person, employee of the year award, employee of the month award. So that person will get elevated. So he will be more ethical next time. He will give much better service to the customers. So you reward such kind of behavior. At the same time, you can report the unethical behavior. If somebody is behaving unethical, you can report it. There could be punishment rules. There could be detrimental rules, so that that person will not repeat this kind of unethical behavior later. Learn from your mistakes with reference to unethical behavior. Whatever people are doing, you need to learn from the mistakes which are committed by the unethical people. Try to rectify. There is one case coming in the next slide. And last but not the least, 10th step is move with the times. We have to keep on moving with whatever technological changes are happening in the field of education. Typically, there are 4 kinds of changes which happen in management. It's called as PEST, P-E-S-T, political, economical, technological, S the social and technological. Political, P, E, economical, what happened? S, social, and T, technology. 4 changes are happening in every country across the world. You have to adjust yourself with the times. And these changes are happening probably every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, every 5 years. Typically, technological changes are happening after every 15 days. So much faster the technology is changing. The product which is very new, launched in the market, becomes old the next week. So your company should be able to adjust with them. So ethical norms will also keep on changing. As I said, the generations are changing, the way of behaviors are changing. So you have to be going with what the society needs, what the generation of your kind require. So you have to keep on changing and move with the times. These are 2-3 examples. The bottom 2 you already know. Cadbury, there was a case of that worm was found inside one of the Cadbury chocolates. And Maggi was banned in India because it was containing lead. Later on, they proved that it doesn't contain lead, and then they started launching Maggi again. In Cadbury case, what happened? They had changed the plant layout. They had got some additional machinery. They changed the entire packaging of Cadbury, and they went on advertising on PR on different television channels, etc. Basically, from the social media perspective, Amitabh Bachchan was appointed as the head for such campaign, and then it was told altogether newly hygienic packaging done for the every product after this incident, and then they regained the position in the market. Why? Because people think that this is something unethical kind of a business. On the top is the case which you probably do not know. This is a Starbucks case. Starbucks, you know about it? What is that company all about? It's a coffee brand which is almost spread over entire world. Maybe 150 countries it exists, more than that. So this Starbucks CEO was Kevin Johnson. Why I said was, because on 1st of October there is new Starbucks CEO appointed. Who is he? He's an Indian CEO. Any idea? Anywhere you read it? He is going to take that seat from 1st of October. He is not an interim CEO. Interim CEO means somebody from within is becoming CEO. He is from some another organization, directly headhunted and put up in the seat of CEO. CEO of Starbucks from India. Anyone? Remember the names? Search it on Google. New CEO of Starbucks. कौन है मिला कि नहीं लक्ष्मण नरसिम्हन is an engineer 1 year senior to me from the same college where I passed out, government college of engineering. He passed out from there in 1988. He is now a CEO. He was in state and he was in more of the cultural activities. Unfortunately, I don't remember him. He will definitely not remember me because I am not reached to that stage. But then he has become the first Indian CEO of startup company. This is the case when Kevin Johnson was the CEO, and this was the case in 2021. And this is in this case in Philadelphia. This case happened. Two men who were sitting in the Starbucks outlet. They didn't order anything. They were just sitting. They were there for 2 hours or maybe 3 hours. One of the serving person came to them and asked, "Sir, what is your order?" They said, "No, we don't have any order." So they have got a verbal fight. If you are not having any order, don't sit here. Just leave this place and get out of this place. So that boiled those two gentlemen, those were from Africa, that boiled them too much, and there was a fight, verbal fight leading to physical fight, and some lady sitting in the Starbucks office, she shooted everybody. And then just like Indian media, the foreign media is also, most of the media are like this, just like that. So it was published, it went viral to entire Philadelphia, that somebody has been driven out of Starbucks coffee outlet. Kevin Johnson dug into that. He called that lady, he tried to find out the authenticity of the thing, and then he actually saw the shooting, what has actually happened. That person who fought with those two gentlemen was demoted. He was transferred to some another shop as a punishment because that was unethical. And then they have made an ethical policy that if anybody is coming to Starbucks outlet, even if he doesn't order for anything, you don't have right to drive that person out. This is business ethics, what he has thought of, and he has, in open media, he has apologized to those two gentlemen, and then the case was closed. But that person was punished. Report unethical behavior. So if anybody is found unethical, you are supposed to report to the top authorities and take some action against that, provided that those kind of facilities or policies are there, defined by the company already. If those are not there, then you can think about designing such kind of strategies or some such kind of policies. Anyway, you are not expected to make the people not follow the policies or not follow the values. You could see this difference between good work ethic and poor work ethic. They are given some rhythmic name. The good work ethic person is Ernest Eric, and the poor work ethic is passive Peter. Now, whichever sources I have taken these photographs of material, I have written those sources here. So when you get that PDF, you can go back to that page and you can read more if you want to. What he does, unless work ethic person is, he always arrives to the work and finishes his project on time and early. What he does, he often arrives to the work late and clocks out early. These are all unethical behavior and these are all ethical behavior. What Eric does, he is happy to do overtime when appropriate. When appropriate. Overtime is not your privilege. It's not always that you do an overtime of 2 hours and company will pay you 2 hours extra. It doesn't happen. In manufacturing, it might be happening where it is measurable that you are sitting overtime because it is required. So as I said here, he is happy to do the overtime when appropriate, not always. Whereas often it is an extension of project deadlines because anyways he is leaving early most of the time, he is arriving on time, after time. So he has got a lot of piled work which is not yet completed, for which he might have to stay longer, and then he will justify that I will require the extension for the deadlines. Then what is he doing? He takes breaks when needed to check his phone. Not like when you are sitting in the class and after every 2-3 minutes you are browsing, किसी का message आया है WhatsApp. I didn't see that thing happen in this class, but then in a class of 60, 120 it happens. There are 2, 3, 5, 10 students. who are going through their handsets unnecessarily. That has become a feature. It's called as a fobbing. Fobbing means all of us, all those who are having handsets, have got a habit of unlocking the handset after a certain time and seeing what has happened in the handset. There's no ring, nobody is giving you ring, your message has not flashed, WhatsApp is not shown on the same screen, but still you will unlock it and then you will see, किसी का message आया नहीं है फिर से लॉक. This has become a typical feature called as fobbing in this mobile age. So you just cross check. Now I am so strict, so I don't allow you, but then in most of the other classes it might be happening. And otherwise when you are sitting idle, you are not doing anything, still after every 5-10 minutes you will lift the phone and then you will check. So जैसे मेरे answer में है, you can open it with the biometric or you will enter the code and you will open, again you will close it. What is the meaning of it? No output error. Some of the handsets have got a feature that at 11 o'clock at night, it will tell you how many times you have lifted the handset and put it down. Why it is required? Because that is something which is making you to go more involved in such an activity which is unnecessary. That will tell you. They will 143 times you lifted the phone and kept it down without any reason. How many amount of time you are seeing WhatsApp? Some of the answers, not all the answers are got it. Maybe there might be some app error. You can check how many minutes in second. It will give you second accuracy. How much minutes and time you were on WhatsApp, how much minutes and time you were on Viber, how much minutes and time you were on YouTube, all the apps etc. That is actually talking about it. So he is taking the break when needed to check his phone. He is taking the break to check the phone. He is not unnecessarily touching the phone and unnecessarily checking everything. What happens here? He typically often starts talking through social media and doing working hours. And this is again very commonly happening in social media. You are on social media. Therefore, some of the companies they have banned these sites. Rather, most of the companies. Typically, IT companies you cannot log into Facebook, you cannot log in even to LinkedIn, WhatsApp. अगर वो चलते ही नहीं. Most of the companies have got the tower of locking your signals. So you don't have on your handsets also no WhatsApp working. You may not take the calls. You can give your friend landline number. And landlines also you are not allowed to talk too much because you have got a target given for that day. So that they are using 100% of your efficiency during 8 hours. No possibility of going to social media. As Mr. Peter is mentioned, he keeps personal problems out of the workplace. This is one big mistake which we all do. I have been referring to this way often. The problems which are happening in the family, you are taking it to the workplace and vice versa. He doesn't do that. He will not bring the personal problems to the workplace, whereas he blames and he admits his mistake, whereas he blames others for his mistake. If you understand this and follow only these 5-6 points, you are going to be the most educated. Because these are the points which are deterring the people from following ethics. If you just follow these two, of course, the left hand side, Irikwala, they will gain ethics, which is very difficult, of course. Going on time and leaving on time, that could be possible because companies giving you the vehicle that will pick you from home, so you will never be late. Again, it will drop you, so you will be never be going early unless until you are some urgent. So the first point will be taken care. Being happy to work overtime, that doesn't happen. When your boss will be asking you to stay late and that is not counted as overtime, you are not ready to do that. So you will never be happy. And that will keep on happening in the industry, whichever industry you work. Except manufacturing, most of the IT companies also give you allowances like overtime. But you have to justify that overtime. So all those things which we used to say that this cannot be proved are nowadays become possible with the help of technology. If you are working in an IT company, you have to prove why do you require overtime, and if you are working for 2 hours, they will pay you double of your salary for those 2 hours which you are working. Same thing happens in the manufacturing industry. But provided you prove that overtime is required. That's why it is said is happy to do overtime only when appropriate. Typically in manufacturing companies, it's a very common scene that people would work in overtime, they will do continuous shift because they get more money. So the people at the lower level, worker level, supervisor level, they continue doing it because nothing to do with ethics. They want to get more money after their employment. So therefore they might be doing it. So you need to take the break. You should not be always in social media. As I said, in most of the IT companies will not be allowed to. No range. So always आप जिसे कॉल कर रहे हो क्या प्राइस है, कौन सा क्षेत्र, कवरेज क्षेत्र से बाहर है, that message all your friends will be getting. So you cannot do a TP at all in IT because they want to take 100% from you and you will be working in those norms. No personal problem should be taken to the workplace. If your personal problem is with you in the workplace, you cannot do anything with it. Something lighter way. But then no personal problem should be taken to the workplace. And last but not least, which is very difficult to do, is admitting your mistake. The more higher you go to the higher positions, the difficult it is for you to accept the mistakes. You will always think, कितने साल से कर रहा हूँ, तुम मुझे कैसे कर रहे हो, अभी आए हैं, ये कॉलेज से आए हैं, अभी तो स्टूडेंट है, तुम मुझे कैसे कर रहे हो. Very difficult to accept your mistakes. And the moment the day you do this, admitting the mistakes, you can be the follower of all other ethics. Because this is the most difficult ethics to follow. And equally, how much time do we have?
20 minutes.
I will finish with this slide. Though not able to finish with all the two unit number 2 or module number 2. This will roll over to the next month. I don't remember the dates. So somewhere saying 3rd week of October and same Thursday and Friday. Why work in this could be poor? So lack of commitment. If you're not committed to the work, you're not dedicated to work, ethics are going to be poor. Work ethos, lack of discipline. Needless to explain all the things. You can understand lack of discipline. Poor working conditions also will make you behave against ethics. So if you want to do something and your organization is not providing you those kind of facilities, forget about conditions, facilities given to you. Poor working conditions make you behave unethically. Supposing you are working in such a place which is very hot and then you are not provided with an air conditioner. Your efficiency goes down. Research has been done in behavioral science. There was one experiment which is done in a company. I don't know whether you must have studied in some other subject called as Hawthorne experiment. Hawthorne experiment. I don't know whether you have heard about this or not. So this experiment was very simple. This was done by a company called as GE, that is General Electric. What they have done the experiment on poor working conditions. This was a kind of a research project which they did. What they did, they took the group of 4 people, made group of 4 people to sit in one room, another group of 4 in another room, third group of 4 in third room. Likewise, they made some 5-6 groups, and each group the work given was same. It was some electrical connections to be made, press fit or auto fit. So the workers are supposed to only take 2 pieces connected, keep it in the done box. Take another 2 pieces connected, keep it in the done box. Very simple activity was told to them. For 8 hours, this activity was asked to be done by them. 6-7 groups were there. In each group, activity was same. Time given to them was also same, 8 hours, just like their working routine hours. Whatever changed is only the working condition. In first group, they put a bulb of 25 watt. Second room, they put a bulb of 40 watt. Third room, they put a bulb of 60 watt. Then 100 watt, 500 watt, like that. What was changed? Only the intensity of the light which was given in that room. It was found that the people who were working in 40 watt, 60 watt and probably 80 watt, they couldn't perform well. The people on higher side, 500 watt, 1000 watt, halogen lamp, they were not able to perform good. But then the people who were between 60 watt, 80 watt, 100 watt, they could do the target given in 8 hours. This was only because of the working condition, the output changed. The 25 watt people means very small bulb, which is they literally used to find out if dikh nahi raha hai, and they could not fit the things in proper places, so the output was less. In 500 or 1000 watt, it was too brilliant light. So people were literally closing their eyes. So with closed eyes, how can you fit the thing? So their output was also worse. The people with the low light, their output was also worse. What was changed? Only the working condition. So they wanted to test that which type of wattage of bulb, which type of light source or which type of light arrangement would be more suitable so that I will get expected outcome. So this was done in the form of that experiment done by changing simply 4 working conditions. So those people who were working 25 watt and 500 watt, they got irritated. They said nothing doing, nahi paisa milega to bhi chale. We will not work. We will not work. Why? Because you have been paid, you should work. They went against the ethics. They decided not to follow the ethics. We will not work. Paisa mile nahi mile. Nahi, can't do hamara paisa. We won't work. The people in 500 watt, they also did the same thing. They also got irritated. ये कितना strong light लगा कर रहा है, इसने क्या कर दिया इसने? So they decided to swerve away from the work ethos because they were given to work under 4 working conditions. This is just one example. Many examples you could see, read on Google, those are available. But then this is ultimately trying to tell you that work condition matters in your giving out, your efficiency, and then it will decide whether to follow the ethics or not. Very often you will hear the people, ये काम करना है लेकिन फैसिलिटीज नहीं दे रहे तो क्यों करें? जाने दो, जब फैसिलिटीज मिलेंगे तब देखा जाएगा. So people are going away from the following of the ethics because they are not provided with working conditions, facilities, the facilitations required for that, or maybe the kind of help which they require not provided by the organization. Political interference is the biggest problem in the industries in India. Most of the companies are being targeted, are owned by the political people, and they run the company. So they want to have the company running according to their standard which they set for their own personal life, coming in to the corporate life. So political interference is one of the biggest problems for political work ethics. Decline in the moral standards. The kind of people who are working in the industries, moral standard is something to do with individual. Moral standard is something to do with the individual. That means how I should behave with reference to all those 27 values that will decide my work ethos. Lack of productivity. Somewhere discussed productivity, efficiency of giving. Lack of concern for deadline. Doesn't matter. आज नहीं हो तो कल करेंगे. Poor quality of work. These are all things which are talking about poor work ethos. I won't bother giving the quality. This I will keep because that question mark is there. It's not a part of the syllabus, so I should keep this up. Okay, let's listen to this story because it's too boring. I am getting a feeling of making my class boring. So in last 10 minutes, I'll tell you this story. Can you read it? Say no. You cannot, right? This story purposefully I have given that font so that you shouldn't be reading. Because again, same rule. When this is activated, this goes weak. So if you start reading, you will not listen to me. This is a story of one king. Of course, this has got connection to the values and we'll end our today's class after this story. The story of a king where the king decides that in my kingdom, I will have the pond of milk. Why the people should purchase milk? Just like a pond of water. In earlier days, there never used to be corporation pipeline coming to your house and you open a tap and you get a water. Literally, people have to fetch the water from wells or maybe some kind of pond nearby village. So he thought that my kingdom is having a lot of ponds of water. So then let my kingdom people should have the milk and let me have a pond of milk in my entire kingdom. So on one fine day, he went to the kingdom. He ordered to all the people that I have already created a vacant or a void of pond. It's empty right now. What you are supposed to do, he has asked or requested to all the people in his kingdom that everyone will take glass of milk at night and will pour it into pond. This is to be done by everybody compulsorily, no excuse. Everyone will take glass of milk from his home and put it into the pond. So that next day morning, I will be able to see the pond of milk and then everyone who wants the milk, then he can take it from there. Right? This is a simple thing what he has decided. One man who decided to listen to the orders of the king, he took a glass of milk. He was about to go out of the home. He decided, why should I take a milk? Because everybody in the kingdom is going to pour one glass of milk. What if I don't put the milk, instead I put a glass of water? it will get mixed with the milk, and then nobody would come to him. Next day morning, when king came to the pond, he saw the entire pond was filled with water. That is the crux of the story. The pond was not at all filled with a single drop of milk, but then entirely it was filled up with the water. What is the learning from this story?
All depend on others.
Huh?
Like for
Okay, let's talk about the king first. What do you think that whether this is the right thing to do by the king, whether it is righteous thing to do, whether it is legal or whether it is ethical? What can you comment on king? King's behavior, king's this order which is given, king's command, everything. What do you comment on
He
king?
was like, he will not provide the milk, he will only pour the milk and
Okay, so maybe king is probably thinking too much selfish. Yeah.
If he is demanding, first he should start with himself.
Correct. Okay, so if he is giving such kind of an order and command, he should have probably shown to the villagers that this is my first, or maybe a barrel of milk which I am pouring as my contribution, which he didn't give. So he wanted to get all the dwellers of his kingdom to follow his orders without he actually. So he was not a demonstrator. He was not a kind of a leader who will show how to do and then get the things done. So he was an autocratic kind of a leader. So first of all, I had a question about this. Why the king should have thought that we should have a milk pond, and why he should order the other people to pour a milk and then take your own milk back? He should have created. He was a king. He must have had a lot of money. He should have created the milk pond on his own. So he shouldn't have been commanding the people and making it compulsion on the top of it for everybody to pour the milk into the pond. So he was very autocratic kind of a leader. That's what I thought. My thought process went in like that. What next? What are the learnings of this case that I asked? That's it. एक ही था, वो तो मैं नहीं बोला, आप लोगों ने कुछ नहीं बोला है.
Raja also depended on Amana that he will bring, I will just pour one glass of.
Now here's the crux of the story, that every individual in that kingdom thought the same way, that somebody else will pour the milk, let me make the water. Nobody is going to know that who has put the water into it. But then everybody thought the same way. This is talking about the ethical values of that entire kingdom. Somewhere later we will be seeing the types of values. There it will come the national values of ethics. So if everybody in that kingdom is thinking the same, you can just see what kind of ethical treatment must have been given by the king to all the dwellers, so that all the member of that family or that society or that kingdom decided to deceive the king, indirectly deceiving themselves. So that thought process was same in all the dwellers of that kingdom. So everybody decides to deceive the king, which is unethical according to the norms. Right? Anything else you would like to comment? Being honest to yourself was the only thing required here. Right? If that person would have been honest that my value or kind of importance giving to my authorities is anyways required. Respect the elders, respect the king, because he has become king because of some reason. So we should respect his orders, we should follow his orders. One glass of milk for every individual must not have made much difference. That presuming certain things that kingdom might be very rich. So pouring one glass of water was not a big deal. So he should have done it honestly, but he was not honest to himself, he was not honest to king. That's why he decided to do, and the same thing was there applicable to all the others. Everybody had the same way. क्या फर्क पड़ता है मैंने नहीं डाला तो एक glass water will get mixed up with the milk, so the quality of milk will not be different. Again, if we think from another aspect of values, which is called as environmental values, what would have happened to that milk? Can there exist a milk pond? What will happen to that milk on the next day? Environmental aspect was not taken care. The milk will get spoiled. The milk will not remain as a milk, and that probably will stink, and probably it will generate further after 2-3 days some kind of diseases. So this thought was not given by king. This was not very much environmental friendly project as such. And we are talking about in business environmental friendly projects. I have told you yesterday that every business when you start with, you have to think about nature and environment, whether your business is endangering or providing any kind of danger to environment, which the king never has thought of. So these are national value systems, environmental value system, individual value systems as a leader and individual value systems as a follower. All those value systems will fit it into that 27. You will list the characteristics taken out of this story, and you will list that this was not followed, this was not followed, this was not followed, etc. So you can link this story with all those list of 27 values which I have given to you. And then you can assign some of the values which are to be followed by king, some of the values which are followed by the followers or the dwellers of this kingdom, and you can get the total of all 27 values. That is the outcome of this story, where I think we should stop. It's almost 4. This will be covered in our next session in the next month. You just look at the calendar and find out the 3rd Thursday and Friday. I think it is. But जरा देख लो calendar. October month